So that's everything you're going to want to do, more or less, before starting your bike up. When you start it up, go ahead and put it on full choke. Don't worry about that. It's a 40-year-old bike. It should use its choke. That's what it's there for. So go ahead and put on full choke and start it up. See how easily it starts up. If it takes 2 or 3 seconds, well, that's okay. I mean, it is an old bike and it may have been sitting. If it takes 2 or 3 seconds, that's not so bad. If you got to crank it and crank it and crank it and crank it and crank it, well, that could be a lot of issues. That could be an electrical issue, a compression issue, a timing issue, a carburetor issue. And if you aren't familiar with these kinds of systems on a motorcycle, well, that's something that you're going to have to pay for. Now we're going to see how easily it starts up. That was pretty good. I've been working on this motorcycle for a while. That was one of the better startups that we've ever had on this one. But you just want to see how long it takes, if it sputters when it starts up. All of these could be an indication of a variety of things. When you have your bike running, take a look at the exhaust. If when you just start your bike up, you see a cloud of exhaust or a little puff, that's okay. I mean, it is a 20 or a 30-year-old bike, so that's to be expected. But if you find that there is sustained exhaust color, either white or black, then that is an indication of a problem. If it's black, that means that you're burning too rich. There's too much gasoline in your gas-to-air ratio, and that can actually be pretty easily adjusted. But if it's white or blue, that is an indication of pretty severe engine wear, and that's something that will need to be addressed. Another common problem that old bikes tend to face is corrosion in the electrical system. It's difficult for the novice mechanic to test the electrical system of his bike, especially because it's very common for people who are selling their bikes to charge up their batteries before you go over there and take a look at it. This gives you the impression that it's got a very strong electrical system, when in fact it might not charge well. There are a couple of things that you can do to take a quick look. If you don't have an altimeter or you don't know how to use one, there are a couple of things you can do. First, you can look for corrosion around connections like these. Just give a quick look. Also, you can look for the presence of one of these, a battery charger. If there's one lying around, it might mean that the previous owner had just recently charged up the battery. One other thing you can do to test the electrical system is pull one of the plugs. Here's an example of a motorcycle spark plug. Pull this out, connect the wire, touch the plug to the head of the engine, really anywhere on the engine that's metal, and have someone press the starter button. You should see a spark arc right in there. An ideal spark is strong and blue and thick and fat, and you'll see it within daylight. If you have to cup your hands around it to make darkness so you can see it, then it's not strong enough. If it's really thin or it travels all over this little tongue here, that also means it's not strong enough. That means that you're going to have to go through your electrical system and clean it up or replace it. Now you're going to want to get on the bike and ride it around. Feel if the motorcycle pulls evenly all throughout the RPMs. Feel if all the gears work. If one of them is missing or slipping. Feel how the clutch is working. Put it into first and get out on an open road and then really gun it, and then put it into fifth and get out on open road and really gun it. If the clutch slips in either one of those gears, then you know that it's probably time for either a clutch adjustment or a new clutch. When you're out riding, test the brakes. Give it a nice good hard brake and see if the bike seems to want to pull to one side or the other. That could be an indication of uneven pressure in your forks here, and that's something that's going to need to be attended to. It could also be an indication of improperly working brakes. And finally, just feel if this is the right bike for you. If you feel like you're going to be uncomfortable on this bike, or it doesn't have enough power, or it has too much power, or it's too light or too heavy, then don't buy it. If this is going to be your first bike or even your 50th bike, then you really want to be comfortable on it. It wants to be the bike that you want it to be. And if it's not, well, no amount of convincing yourself that it is or it isn't is going to change it. And so that's about it, guys. I'm sure I left some stuff out. Feel free to add me an annotation in the comments, and I'll definitely stick it in. Remember, like I said, do your research before you go out and see the bike. Go onto the forums online and the specified websites and see what different people are saying about these bikes. And good luck.